Right now, let's get to the news.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. North and South America, and all the ships and clippers at sea. Let's go to press.
First up in game news, just last week we were talking about No Pun Included. We were talking about how much we love them, and in particular we were talking about how much we love their Game of the Year choices, because their Game of the Year choices were not things that everybody was picking. So to recap, in 2017 they chose Sidereal Confluence. Nobody chose Sidereal Confluence. It's a great game. It wouldn't be on my top 2 or 3 from that year, but it's probably, if I had to pick what is the game nobody is talking about this year that everyone should have played, it probably would have been Sidereal Confluence. It was fantastic. 2018 came around, and they picked as their game of the year Now Boarding. Jesse, have you played Now Boarding? It's the Tim Fowers cooperative game where we're all operating airlines.
Nope.
We've been playing it a lot lately. I think you've always ended up being in the other group. Our games were finished shorter.
I remember seeing that game.
Well, let's put it this way: if Jake has played it twice,
Yeah.
situations have happened.
Yeah.
Very good game. It's one of these games that we are playing more and more. It's kind of becoming our go-to. Well, we got about, we ended a little early tonight. We got about 45 minutes to hang around. Let's get that out.
Yeah, he does good with that. Like Burgle Bros is interesting.
Yes.
That might be a little longer, but yeah.
The
Tim
Burgle
Fowers,
Bros can play around that.
I really want to play
Sabotage. Yeah, you got it out last week.
Yeah.
I saw that. I can't wait to show it to you.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It made my top 10 list of the year.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. This year, No Pun Included, just gave their 2019 Game of the Year review, which is a game that they already reviewed. It is Pipeline. They gave it to Pipeline. I have to say, these guys are 3 for 3. When I put together my top 10 list, the hardest game to place was Pipeline. The hardest game to place for me.
Where did you place it?
I placed it number 3, I believe. 3 or 4. I put number 3 or 4. But the reality was, I was like, Pipeline I could put that in the number 1 slot and sleep easy. I could put it in the number 2 slot and sleep easy. I could put it anywhere there. The interesting thing about it, and we've talked about this before on the show, we talked about it is criminal how low in the BGG rankings Pipeline is. Barrage is getting its due. Crystal Palace is doing well, not as amazing as I would hope it would, but it's doing well. Marvel Champions is doing great. Like a lot of the marquee games from the year, Pipeline is still languishing way down there.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I played it with my family up over the Christmas break. My wife loved it. My brother's wife loved it. My brother loved it. My son loved playing it. It was their favorite game.
Wow.
And each time it played different, and each time they kind of dug it more and more. I think part of it is there's the spatial puzzle of the pipes tied to a very interesting economic engine where I need to do 3 things. I can only do one of them. Which one am I going to do? And how much is it going to hurt that I didn't choose this other one? It's very interesting. I think the components, I think Ian O'Toole, it's probably my favorite Ian O'Toole design as far as the artwork goes, because it could be a very dry economic game about pipelines and buying crude, and especially with the metal cubes and everything. It's just stunningly gorgeous. It's just absolutely beautiful, simplistic design. Choices that were made with the artwork that were really phenomenal. But they named Pipeline. I can't be happier, because once again, they picked an amazing game that isn't quite getting its due, and they're signal boosting it to try and get more people to check it out. So I think that's phenomenal. Congratulations, guys. You guys are knocking it out of the park. Next up I think kind of not great news, but we'll talk about what it is. Asmodee, the large game company that is only getting larger, has announced the acquisition of Repos Productions. Repos made Time's Up. They made Seven Wonders, Cash and Guns, and they made this year's Just One, which won the Spiel des Jahres.
So we're going to see a lot more of those app board games.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is Asmodee is buying up everybody. They're buying up everybody. So Repos production now has been assimilated into the board collective, and who knows what's going to happen. Now, I will say this. So far, Asmodee is still doing great. They are turning out great games. They're making good choices. All is well. I would just say that in most other creative realms and creative endeavors, when too much of the production of the creative content is concentrated in too few hands, that tends not to be a good thing for that art form.
Yeah.
So
hopefully another big competitor would come out there, but otherwise it's a good thing. Like, that we're making board games more prevalent. And
yeah. Listen, if they're gonna get Time's Up, Seven Wonders, Just One into the hands of more people, I think that's great. These are mostly party games, and in that kind of genre, so that they could use a signal boost, right? Mm-hmm. These are games that should be more in the mass market.
Yeah.
So I get that. I think that's great. Just long term, I worry about what that is going to do. Next up, Elizabeth Hargrave of what game did she do?
The Wingspan?
That's exactly right. She's got a game coming out in 2020 called Mariposas. Jesse, what does Mariposas mean?
Mariposas. I don't know.
Butterflies.
Oh, yeah, the butterfly?
It means the butterflies. She's doing a game about butterflies. We only have very little information on this right now, except that it is supposed to come out in 2020 at some point. And it is about the monarch butterflies leaving Mexico and moving up through North America. There is a map in this one. So this is going to be a set collection game where you're trying to get all the great examples of the various butterflies, but it also will have a spatial piece to it, because there's going to be 3 seasons in the game. When the butterflies migrate north in the spring, when they spread out in the summer, and then when they return south in the fall. I think those are the 3 opportunities to see all the different types of butterflies and all that kind of stuff.
I'm seeing a trend here. The birds and the butterflies and...
if the theme is underused themes, yes, I think that's true. Right. I think that's great.
All the sci-fi nerds or fantasy nerds are like, hope she goes dragons next.
Look, we talked about it yesterday. Jake would love to see like if the butterflies could just have some sort of laser beam on their on their heads. That's all he needs for it to have fun. But me personally, I love the ideas that she is coming up with in terms of different themes for stories. And I hope very much that this game follows in the tradition she has already started, because Wingspan was a phenomenal introduction. Next up, we have Return to Dark Tower. We talked about Return to Dark Tower several times. It is a reimagining of an old Milton Bradley classic.
Oh, man. Which is not a great game.
Oh, it is not a great game. No. And those towers, man, I think they lasted an average of 2 plays before they broke.
Oh, mine lasted.
Did it really?
Yeah. I mean, I believe so. Every time I pulled it out, I think it worked.
Mine kept getting trashed. They're crushing Kickstarter. They had a $850,000 goal. They're at $2.5 million basically. 16 days to go. If you want to get up on it, please do. It looks gorgeous. I'm looking at some of the artwork for it now. It's interesting. You get a character, and that character has different abilities, and the abilities are little chits that can be flipped over to their opposite sides, so you can customize your heroes to some degree. The combat system looks interesting. Look, the old Dark Tower was essentially a random number generator that looked really cool.
Yeah.
Right? It would just come up with a number, and that's what happened. This is a much, much different thing. This tower is animatronic. Parts of it will open, and skulls will pour out, and those skulls will go on your buildings, and you have to clear those skulls, because if you don't, you're going to be seriously, seriously harmed by your buildings getting destroyed things like that, which is kind of cool. I will say that looking at this, not knowing because I haven't played, but looking at this, I wonder how much there is there. It looks like it might have not gotten far enough away from the original Dark Tower. Your first comment was, it wasn't that good a game.
I would hope that they tried to dig into it, and I feel like both of them would.
they
Childress
definitely
and-
are digging
and
into it to
Davio.
some degree.
And this one's co-op now, right? This is a little different dynamic
Yep.
before.
Yep. There's an Alliance add-on for $30, Dark Horde Alliance for $65. So they are pumping out that content.
Yeah.
It just when I'm thinking about this and I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't see how I buy this sight unseen.
Yeah,
I don't see
I feel
how
the
I
same way.
don't play it.
What's the price tag? Like
First.
180 or something?
I'll tell you right now, 125
Oh, okay.
for a base copy.
So with the expansion, about 180.
Yeah, plus 30, plus 65, whatever
Yeah,
you want to do.
Wow.
It looks like it could be interesting, but when you look at the size of the map, the board that you play on that is around the Dark Tower, it looks very constricted. It looks like, wow, I'm not really sure how much of this will work. That said, it is designed by Rob Davio and Isaac Childress.
Yeah.
So
Of all the legacy games.
I'm
and
telling you,
Gloomhaven, I know.
that's
interesting.
that is a super group
Yeah, yeah.
in board gaming terms.
Monster
That is the
team up.
Asia of. I mean, this could be their heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Coming out right now. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not convinced, but I'm very, very intrigued. I'm hoping that when we go to Strategicon next month, that maybe somebody will have a demo copy
Yeah.
of that to play.
Oh, wow.
Because I would love to check that out. No promises, nothing at all suggesting that they will, but we can live in hope. Next up, we have a new Kickstarter, Foundations of Rome. Emerson Matsuchi is a designer. He did the Century series, so Century Road and all of those games. He also did Spectre Ops. So he's got a fairly good design history. He has a game that has 19 days to go left. It's Foundations of Rome, and it has already kicked. It's got $320-something thousand pledged on the $50,000 goal as of this moment. And this is a city building game in which each player has this player mat, which has all of these gorgeous buildings on it. And then essentially what's going to happen is two cards will be drawn, or a certain number of cards will be drawn, and those essentially are going to pick a number that is a lot on a square grid that has lots numbered from 0 to 100 or whatever. I'm not sure what the exact number is. I think based on what that lot number comes up, everyone is going to try and compete to build a building on that lot. There seems to be somewhat of a polyomino theme in that not all buildings are shaped the same or score the same, things like that. It looks stunning. It looks like a Kickstarter gem in that sense. Looking at the rules, however, the game looks light. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that the descriptions of the game on the Kickstarter and the way it look like a almost Civilization building game. It looks like a kind of heavy thing. Reading the rules, I am not sure. Now, that said, his Century Road series, those games that he has done, they seem pretty light, and yet they have hidden complexity. So there is depth to them that you don't see just from reading the rules. So that could work out well for them. But yeah, I guess this is another one. I got some questions, and I want to play it before I buy it for this one. But the third Kickstarter is different. This one is Oath. Oath is the new Cole Worley game. It is a strategy game for 1 to 6 players, remembering history that is forgotten. It is got 16 days to go as of today. It has a goal of $50,000. Sure, Cole. Sure, your goal was $50,000. It's at $724,000 now. It's going like gangbusters. There's no way $50,000. Come on, get real. Okay, so in Oath is not a legacy game, but it is a campaign game. In that, when you play it, you'll get to the end of a story, sort of, but you can continue from there. And the choices, the things that have been chosen for the game, the end state of the game will sort of be the start state for the next game.
What genre are we talking about here?
It is kind of Root-esque
Okay.
It is fantasy, medieval fantasy with creatures instead of people to some degree.
Okay.
The idea is that there is a current government that exists in the land, and you will play as you're going to play a citizen or exile.
Okay.
If you are playing an exile, you're trying to overthrow that government of the chancellor. You're trying to become the new chief, the new head of this government, and you'll do so when you get a card in the game which gives you a vision for a new society. Or you can play as a citizen, in which you are trying to prop up and help survive the chancellor, and be the citizen with the most prestige when that happens.
Oh, interesting.
So I think to put it in today's terms, you're either playing Bernie Sanders or you're playing Joe Biden. Right? You could play either one of those. Looking at it, it looks cool. It looks very Root-esque in some ways, but it looks like more of a campaign game, more of a story game. It supposedly takes 6 minutes to pack up and 3 minutes to set up. If that is true, and that includes the fact that you are telling the same story, extending the same story, so you can save the game state,
right,
restart from that game state going forward, and do that all in 3 to 6 minutes, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Because other games that do this, the Gloomhavens of the world and things like that, oh my God, that is, let's play the setting up the game.
I got that down to like 10 to 15 minutes. If you can get the organizer, then...
Yeah, it's so expensive.
I know.
I can't do that. It's too expensive. But yeah, if there's one that I am not going to try before I buy, it is going to be Oath. I'm almost certain that I'm going to kick it.
It looks cool.
I think Maddie has already... I don't even want to guess what Maddie has done. It looks great. It looks great. Next up, Fantasy Flight. We talked last week about how Fantasy Flight had these huge layoffs, but we did say that the board game division was spared, and good thing that is so, because Fantasy Flight is putting out a game called Cosmic Encounter Duel. This is a two-player Cosmic Encounter-esque experience. Now, Jesse, did you ever play Cosmic Encounter?
Yeah. I do get it confused with a couple other different things, but I have played it.
I'm pretty sure
times.
that you have, I think, yes. Cosmic Encounter was one of the original variable player power games, and especially broken player power games. In fact, the whole game was designed around the idea of, we're going to create these alien races that are so completely broken and so ridiculously broken, but we're going to try and make them all relatively equally broken in very different ways, so that five people are playing the same game, but nobody's playing the same game.
Is there like a plant race?
You're thinking of Eclipse?
Yes.
Yes.
But I still have played Cosmic Encounters.
I believe you have. That Cosmic Encounters, the term the Sniveler comes from Cosmic Encounter. That's a race in the Cosmic Encounter, where you can just snivel your way into getting resources from the other people. That's your superpower.
Okay.
You just basically take things from people.
Right.
It is nutso. How to do that as a two-player game, I wouldn't say could be done.
Right.
So how different is this game going to be than the original Cosmic Encounter? Don't know. All I will say is that the explanation of the game, they do lay out one of the races, and that race is the cheater. And the cheater can take an additional tactic card in the game, or a tactic that they can use, and they're allowed to use it as long as they want, as long as nobody can guess what they're cheating with.
Oh, weird.
If you can't guess what how you're getting away with doing all of this, if you can guess it, then the cheater's benefit is taken away from them, at least for a period of time. That sounds classic Cosmic Encounter.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I very much hope. I think a short two-player take that Cosmic Encounter might be the best Cosmic Encounter. The larger game probably overstayed its welcome if we were looking at it with today's tastes, and got into a situation where it was just all Kingmaker. It's like, okay, I go next. I'm going to try and win, and the person on my left, his job is to stop me from winning and to make sure I can't win this round. and then he's going to try to win, and the person on his left has got the job of trying to stop him from winning, and so on and so forth. So it's this circular firing squad thing until eventually somebody just lucks out, and that person can't actually stop me because they spent too many resources stopping the other guy, and that sort of thing happened. But that is Cosmic Encounter. I'm looking forward to that. And one last bit of news. Today, the Today Show put out a little piece where they talked about 10 board games for adults today.
Yeah. Today's show?
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Now, here's the thing. No, the truth of it is that I've been noticing this, that I used to look at these things when they would put out, here are the hot games for adults that you're playing right now, and they were just all so depressingly horrible. They were just so far off. And then something happened about, I think probably around less than 5 years ago, and especially in the last 2 or 3 years, where the mainstream outlets that are putting out these things were not that bad anymore. You know, they weren't picking, a Monopoly version.
Cranium.
They weren't picking, they weren't picking those games. They were picking some more interesting games. They at least got somebody to tell them, hey, there's some things happening in the board gaming hobby. Maybe we should check some of these things out and give some of these recommendations.
Or some examples of good suggestions they made.
Yes. Unfortunately, Today has gone old school, and they have done the old version. So the board games for adults, specifically for adults, were Do You Know Me, which is a game from the people that made What Do You Meme? Flying Sushi Kitchen Game, Twister Scrabble, Monopoly Speed, Not Parent Approved, LCR, which I guess Party Bowl, Game Mashups, Candyland, and Connect 4. This is a game for adults they're talking about.
Oh my god! So they just got bought out.
They I don't know
they took
what
a paycheck.
Happened. Something something just horrible when it happened. It's depressing. Yeah, it's very, very sad because we work very hard to sort of be evangelists of the hobby. We try to get it out there, and every once in a while, a larger media outlet will pick up the torch and just immediately drop it and set themselves on fire.
Yeah, seriously.
I could not. It is such a lazy collection of games. It's just lazy.
Yeah.
You could even if I said, okay, you can't look at any game that was made in any other country other than the United States. United States titles only. You could do that. Only games that you could get in Target.
Yeah.
Right? Even that.
Jaws.
Oh my God. You could come up with like Villainous is not a terrible game. Yeah. It's pretty damn good. You could do such a better job than this dumpster fire that they have chosen. And it's just sad. It's just sad. So today, come on, get with it, man. Last but not least, there was a metric that was done on the most played board games on BGG.com. This is a quiz for you, Jesse. This is a quiz.
Most played?
Yeah, I have the top 5 list of the games that have the most plays ever logged.
People say, I played this game.
Yes. Logged.
Who would do that? Is it people playing Catan?
Are you guessing Catan? Because there are 5 on the list. I'm going to give you 5 guesses. We're going to see how many of the top 5 that you can guess.
Oh my God. I don't know. Who would do that? I don't know that. And consistently, like a whole group of people. Like I don't know. I feel like Catan might be one of them. Maybe Agricola, but I don't know that enough people are playing that even.
Okay, Catan, not on the list.
Okay.
Agricola, not on the list.
Yeah.
These games are probably a little bit shorter.
Yeah, shorter. So like the apples to apples one. Wait, what about
party gamers tend not to list?
Oh yeah, they
tend not to list their plays.
I got nothing then.
All right, I'm going to give you from 5 to 1. Number 5, Carcassonne, which is really interesting because that's a really old game, but people just keep playing it and playing it and playing it. Number 4 is interesting because it's the most recent addition to the list. Codenames is one of the top 4 most played, the most logged plays
I consider that a party game.
That's not very old. Well, that's the only party game really on the list. Number 3, Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
Right?
I can see them doing that.
Yep. Number 2, Race for the Galaxy.
No.
Huge plays. And the number 1 game, and by the way, by a stretch, this has way more plays than everything else on BGG, and it's very interesting.
Democker.
Close. Not Democker. Dominion.
Oh, I just said it wrong.
DiGiorno.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? Dominion. Tons and tons of plays. That those guys are raking it in. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Hey, if you enjoyed that video, you very well might enjoy the other videos you now see being suggested to you on screen. Also, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, or subscribe to our Game Brain channel. Thanks so much.